Welcome back, everybody. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon and The Blackest Heart, both books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Sackett's Land by LAmour. This is book number 1 in his epic 17-volume saga of the Sackett family as they immigrate from England to the United States and then across the western United States. So it starts. We'll get into the whole thing a little bit later in the review. But let's talk about the book cover first. We always review book covers first. This is a great cover by Gregory Manches. It's of an old English castle. Because this is not a Western per se. This is actually a historical novel set in 1600s England about Barnabas Sackett, the first Sackett to make his way to America from England. And then this is the whole Sackett series right here, 17 books, as they migrate from the East Coast to the West, and then they become Westerns. I think about book 6 or 7, they become true Westerns. But some of them are Revolutionary War novels. Some of them are Civil War novels. This one is a straight-up Old English historical novel. It was written in 1974. LAmour wanted to write a big, huge, epic family saga, just like this. A coming-to-America tale that took generations and generations and books to tell the story. And that's what he did with his Sacketts. It is his crowning achievement in his career. And he speaks of it often as his crowning achievement. And one of the most... He was mostly fond... The thing that he was most fond of having written were these Sackett books. And, this set that I bought, since we're still on the covers here, the set that I bought, as you can see, all 17 books have matching covers. And about 2000, in between the years of about 1998 and 2001, they started re-releasing these books with these matching covers. So I started to buy them, and I got rid of my old set that was... The covers, the spines did not match on my old set. So when I saw that they were re-releasing them all with new matching spines, I did buy them all. And it's a pretty dope set. All the covers, all the spines match. And, the covers have similar themed design also. So give it a thumbs up for that. If you want to get this set, you can still buy them all just like this. They're all still in print. Go out and get them. Let's talk about the book itself now. Starts out in 1600 England. Barnabas Sackett. He lives on the Isle of Ely in Cambridgeshire, England. Now, I Googled this. Like I said, I am rereading these. I read these all when I was in high school. I am rereading them all for the first time now here. Some 30 years after I'd been in high school. And this first book was a delight to reread because I don't remember anything that happens in any of these books. Especially that he was from the Isle of Ely in Cambridgeshire. So I went ahead and Googled the Isle of Ely and Cambridgeshire because LAmour says this is a real place. He based this novel after a real family named Sackett from the Isle of Ely. I was like, well, I'm going to Google this place to see what it's like, because the first quarter of the book takes place in the Isle of Ely in Cambridgeshire, so I wanted to ground myself in the reality of this place. I Googled it, and I was fascinated by it. The Isle of Ely, back in 1600s, was actually an island in the middle of marshes. Marshes everywhere, an island in the middle of it. Now, they've since drained the marshes, and now it's just farmland. But anyway, back then, it was what it was. And the reason it was called the Isle of Ely was because there were eels that lived in the marshes, and there were people that hunted the eels or farmed the eels, because Barnabas Sackett is eel hunter or farmer. I can't remember what they called him. That was his job, was to pull eels out of these marshes. Anyway, Mr. Barnabas Sackett ends up fighting with a nobleman. He fist fights the nobleman, gets in trouble. The nobleman sends some knights out to arrest Barnabas Sackett. Barnabas Sackett's like, I ain't gonna be arrested. There's a sword fight ensues. He kills some of the knights, and now he's a wanted man. However, it's all set up so that these people are evil, and Barnabas was self-defense all the way through. And so you feel for Barnabas. You're like, well, he got a bad rap. Now he's on the run, and he's on the run with his friend Jublain. His friend Jublain, which is an interesting name because there's various characters in the rest of this series with names that are based off of Jublain, like Jubal, and there's just a bunch of them. So I thought that was interesting. Also, he meets a girl named Abigail, because there's always a girl. There's always got to be a girl. And they go on the lam through England. They try to hide in London. They think, well, London's a big city. Nobody will find us there. Well, that doesn't work out. And then they kind of hook up with the pirate who's like, hey, I'm going to the New World, America. I mean, this is 1600. America was a thing then. People would go there to start over a new life. And this is what Barnabas is like, I'm a hunted man in England. I might just have to take this pirate up and head to America with this dude and see how my fortune's like. So Barnabas, Jublain, and Abigail, they go to America. Pirate ship, pirate adventures. So then that's about all the plot I'm going to give you, because now we've got pirate adventures, we've got high seas adventures, and we get to America, where we've got this guy coming to America and meeting Native American Indians and just feeling like he's on an alien planet entirely. And so that is basically the gist of the very first book in the Sackett saga, which gets our initial Sackett, Mr. Barnabas Sackett, gets him from the Isle of Ely in Cambridgeshire, England. And when I did Google that, I found out there's quite a large cathedral / castle in the middle of the Isle of Ely. They still call it the Isle of Ely, even though it's no longer an island. Anyway, he gets to America. Barnabas Sackett, now the Sackett family has roots in America. Mr. Barnabas Sackett fled there as a criminal from England, and some of his crimes, I will say, his crimes sort of follow him to America, because we've got antagonists that we can't leave in England. They've got to follow. Anyway, it's just a great little adventure. It's only about 180 pages. I read it in a couple of hours. It was a dope little book, and I can't wait to start rereading. Like I said, I've read these all in high school. My grandpa, this was my grandpa's favorite series. He loved the Sackett series. He had them all. Part of the reason I got and started reading LAmour was because of my grandfather, who was an Old West cowboy of himself in Sevier County, Utah. He loved the Sacketts. And anyway, can't wait to start rereading each one again. There's 16 left to go. And I hope you follow me along for my Sackett family drama, adventure, Western, American history, historical novel series. This first book, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it. It was a fun read. I learned a lot about the history of a certain Isle of Ely in, wherever the hell it was in England. I remember I mentioned it earlier. But anyway, 8 out of 10 stars for Sackett's Land.